Broadway's dynamic duo, Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein, arguably changed the face of the musical. From the iconic masterpiece, The Sound of Music, to the beloved fairy tale, Cinderella, the composer-lyricist team have been entertaining the world, even though they have both passed at the turn of the 21st century. In today's video, we will take a look at their first three musical productions. Oklahoma. Based on the 1930s play Green Grows the Lilacs, Oklahoma was Roger and Hammerstein's first production together. It opened on Broadway on March 31, 1943, and was an instant success. It was the first musical to integrate lyrics and dance to assist in the telling of the story. The musical, originally starring Joan Roberts and Alfred Drake in the leading roles, tells the will-they-won't-they love story of Lori, a settler farming land in Oklahoma Territory, her cowboy suitor, Curly McLean, as well as Lori's friend, Edu Annie, and her steady boyfriend, Will. In its review of the musical, the New York Journal-American declared it beautiful and delightful, and the New York Daily News stated that it was beautifully different. The Broadway show has won numerous awards, including 2 Theatre World Awards, and spawned the much-acclaimed 1955 film adaptation starring Doris Day and Gordon MacRae, as well as 3 Broadway revivals. Carousel. On April 19, 1945, Roger and Hammerstein's second production opened on Broadway. Based on a much older production, Carousel tells the love story of Billy Bigelow, a turn-of-the-century carnival barker who meets a New England mill girl, Julie Jordan. After a whirlwind romance and a bout of unemployment, the two marry. Billy makes friends with a local sailor, Jigger, who on the night of the local clam bake decides to jump Julie's former employer, who is delivering a load of cash to Jigger's ship. Billy is abusive to Julie, but she still loves him. When she announces that she is expecting the first child, Billy decides to join Jigger in his heist. Ultimately, the holdup fails, leaving Jigger a fugitive from the police and Billy mortally wounded. He dies in Julie's arms after telling her that he had joined Jigger in his attempted robbery because he wanted to take her and their baby to San Francisco. Arriving in heaven, Billy is informed that he will not be taken before God. Instead, he is brought to a man in heaven's backyard named the Starkeeper. The Starkeeper asks the unrepentant Billy why he would leave his expectant wife alone. When Billy has no real answer, the judge tells him that he really doesn't deserve to go to heaven. However, if he tries again, he probably could do enough good to merit eternal rest. The Starkeeper shows Billy a vision 15 years in the future, where he meets his daughter Louise. All her life, she has had her peers inform her that her father was a no-good thief. She has always denied the accusation. Like her mother, Louise also has a crush on a local carnival worker. When the boy breaks her heart and no one is there to comfort her, Billy decides to visit Louise. Here on Earth, Julie is outside her little cottage, catching up with her best friend Carrie about Carrie's recent trip to New York City. Carrie has brought her son Enoch Jr., and later that evening all 4 of them will attend Louise and Enoch's graduation. Louise informs Enoch that she wants to be an actress, and in order to keep Louise in his life, Enoch proposes marriage to her, though his father would believe he was marrying beneath his station in life. Louise declines the offer. Billy reveals himself to his daughter as a friend of her father's. He tells her that her father was a good man. Hearing otherwise her entire life, Louise doesn't believe him. Billy tries to give her a star. When Louise doesn't accept, he slaps her. Frightened, Louise screams for her mother. Julie seems to understand that Billy is trying to make amends, while Louise is utterly bewildered. Billy does want to make things right, but quickly hides, not wanting Julie to recognize him. He is granted permission by his heavenly guides to attend his daughter's graduation ceremony. During the ceremony, a speaker reminds Billy of the Starkeeper. Standing behind Louise, he gives a speech telling her to listen to and believe him. He also tells Julie that he loves her. Having thus fulfilled his mission on Earth, Billy is taken up to heaven. Once again, Roger and Hammerstein's work received much praise. The city center Atkinson stated that the themes in the work were universal. Everyone in the U.S. could relate to the story, with many grieving the loss of friends and family. One critic summed Roger Hammerstein's work this way: Oklahoma is a picnic. Carousel is life and death. It was said to be Richard Rogers' favorite musical. Winning 6 awards at its inception, Carousel would be declared the best musical of the 20th century by Time magazine. State Fair. Based on a 1932 novel and a 1933 movie of the same name, State Fair is the only musical Rogers and Hammerstein specifically wrote for the silver screen. Starring Jean Crane, it is the tale of a Midwestern farming family's experience at the Iowa State Fair. Father Abel is dying for his prize boar, Blue Boy, to win first place in the livestock shows. His wife Melissa is eager to dethrone a rival in the mince meat competitions. And after a bad breakup and a marriage proposal, children Wayne and Margie are looking to get out and explore. Giving her suitor the ultimatum about answering his proposal after the fair, Margie and her family set off for the event. Wayne meets a glamorous woman named Violet, the police chief's daughter, who rescues him from a scheming fair worker and instantly falls for her, while his sister meets an up-and-coming newspaperman, Pat Gilbert, who is waiting for his big break. At the dance on the first night of the fair, Violet's true identity is revealed to be the Broadway-bound singer, Emily Evans. The real Violet is an 11-year-old girl. Emily pleads that they can't get involved. Wayne agrees, but kisses her anyway. Celebrating Melissa's win in the mincemeat department, Abel dances with his wife. Pat offers to dance with Margie. Having noticed the sparks between her daughter and the reporter, Melissa urges Margie to live a little. Caught up in the romance of the moment, Margie and Pat kiss each other, and just then, Margie recognizes Harry in the crowd of dancers. The next morning, after Blue Boy decides to take a mud bath, Melissa asks her children to clean the pig up. Harry joins in just as Pat appears to question Margie about Harry. The answer is that everyone has paired Margie and Harry together. Pat tells Margie that he loves her. Their kiss is interrupted by her father, who is distraught about his pig. Pat and Margie agree to meet up at the Dairy Pavilion later that evening. As he leaves Margie's campsite, Pat is asked out by some fair-going girls, and much to their surprise and his, he declines their advances. Blue Boy wins the ribbon, Abel desired. Pat is recalled to Chicago for an interview, standing up Margie. Abel and Melissa celebrate their wins and worry about their children's love lives. Meanwhile, at the evening's dance, Wayne tries to convince Emily not to go to Broadway. Being the last night of the fair, she has an 11:30 bus and reveals to Wayne that she's still married to a man who can't stand her constant absence. Wayne is left with a broken heart, but the real Violet tries to cheer him up by dancing with him and promising him to look for him at next year's fair. Margie, just realizing that Pat has broken up with her, determines not to be swept off her feet the next time a man makes an advance to her. Meanwhile, Harry appears at her parents' tent, wondering where she is. They agree to walk him to the pavilion. On the way there, they meet Wayne, who is trying to drown his sorrows in alcohol. Abel decides to walk with him and cheer him up. So her mother is Margie's only witness to her refusal of Harry. Back home, at the farm a few days later, Margie hears her father reading an article about the fair to her mother. Hearing a quote about herself, Margie realizes that Pat wrote the article. Wayne arrives with the news that he has reconciled with his girlfriend, Eleanor, and they will be married next summer. One of Abel's close friends arrives, and Margie ends up telling him that she has outgrown the fair. Pat also arrives just then and has the chance to explain his absence. He has had a job interview and now works at the Chicago Tribune. Then he goes down on one knee before Margie. She realizes that he's about to propose and gives him an immediate yes even before Pat can ask her to marry him. And on that happy note, the curtain drops on the story. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, check out my other World War II entertainment videos. Thanks so much for watching.